Courtney, and welcome back to my first reading update of the new year. I took a little bit of a holiday break, and by holiday break, I mean I work full-time and own a retail shop, so I needed to just not do anything besides those two things for about a month. So not much of a break. I did get some good reading in, so it's going to be a little bit of a longer update this week, and I'm excited to be back and making content and updating this channel again for you all. So let's dive in. I haven't posted one of these in about a month, so I'm going to be going back pretty far into my reading history, basically just anything that I read since the last time I filmed a video. So the first one is Pisces by Melissa Broder. I was in the middle of reading this in my last video, I believe, and I did finish it, and I was honestly really disappointed. I feel like this book walked so that The Regrets by Amy Bonifants could run. They're very similar, but I loved The Regrets way more than I enjoyed this one. I did enjoy it. I am a huge dog lover, and there's some like cruelty, not really cruelty. There's some cruelty to dogs in this book. And that really just like made me kind of meh about it. I also love flawed characters, but there's a certain point where I just get annoyed. Like if there's no development within those flawed characters, I can see why it got good reviews. It just wasn't for me, but it's extremely well written. I believe I said this last time I talked about it, but if you have any sort of like a queasy stomach when it comes to like weird bodily functions, do not read this book. There are some pretty gross moments. It also is lots of sex on the page. It is pretty erotic. So warning there. Trigger warnings also to cruelty to animals and suicide. So that is The Pisces by Melissa Broder. I think I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. Maybe 3.5 if I stretch it a little bit. Not a bad book by any means, but just not for me. Okay, the next one I am very excited about. It is The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. I loved The Night Circus. I actually listened to The Night Circus on audio because Jim Dale, who narrates the British version of Harry Potter, which is what I grew up listening to, narrates it. So it was kind of like a nostalgia thing for me. But I decided to read The Starless Sea, and I loved it. I love Erin Morgenstern. I love her world building. I love her prose style. It's one of those books that like I will obviously be doing a full review on this one because it is very long and very hard to talk about in like 30 seconds. But it is contemporary fantasy with a little bit of romance and just this amazing magical world similar to The Night Circus, where you just want to just be there forever. And it's another one that I know that they were talking about doing an movie adaptation maybe of The Night Circus, and I don't know if that ever got off the ground. Maybe it's still in production. I don't know what's happening. I tried to look it up and couldn't find any new information besides that a director bought the rights to it. But this is another one that is so lush and vivid that I'm just like, please make this a movie so I can actually see this. It's dual perspective, so it jumps back and forth both in time and then also between like stories that the main character is reading. So you get a lot, just this round view of this story, and I highly, highly recommend. 5 out of 5 stars for me. The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. Right. The next one was a Christmas gift from my mother, which I actually read on Christmas Day. It is Through the Woods by Emily Carroll, which is a graphic novel. It's a collection of kind of horror, dark fairy tale short stories. It's so spooky. It's got really spooky illustrations. It's a really quick read, but I love fairy tales, especially dark fairy tales, and these are pretty traditional, probably Victorian, Edwardian. There's no like time period in any of them, but like I said, probably guessing Victorian, Edwardian period. It's, I think, for a younger audience. So they're not super scary, but they are like kind of creepy at times. It reminded me of Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark a little bit, and I just absolutely loved it, and I'm so happy to have it on my shelf like as an object. So I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. That is Through the Woods by Emily Carroll. All right, the next book I read is Here by Richard McGuire. I have been wanting this book for a pretty long time because I read some sort of article, I think it was like a LitHub article about it, and it's like the cover is beautiful, and I do really enjoy the illustration style, but it is very light prose. There's not many words. It's mostly told through imagery, but Here tells the story of this single place on Earth in the landscape, and probably somewhere in New England. I don't think it actually specifies, but it tells the story of this piece of land non-sequentially through time. So it jumps all the way from the prehistoric era all the way to the future, like pretty far in the future. I think like 3000 or something like that is the furthest it goes. But it starts off just kind of telling these little snippets in time. So you can see like this is 1957 in this corner of the earth. And then as you progress, it starts layering in different time periods, all in kind of one imagery. So this main image is 1971, then you see 1960, 1990, 1950, 1990 again. But it does it kind of by theme. So you can see like there's a page where it's dancing, and it's different people dancing in this room throughout time, and you get to meet all the owners and the families and the people that interacted. It is a very like slow moving, like I said, it doesn't really have a story. You kind of have to piece together the story itself, but it's just very meditative, and some place existed before it was your home, or before it was the store that you went to, or before it was a public park. And it shows that, you know, humans come and go, but the land continues to evolve over time. It's really powerful story. It's pretty slow moving, even though there's no words. It does take a pretty long time to kind of get through it, because you have to actively pay attention and look at what's happening. And then based on the dates, you can begin to kind of form a narrative in your head. And there's no right or wrong. There's no telling if that narrative is right or wrong. So it's kind of up to your own interpretation, which I really loved. So that is Here by Richard McGuire. I read one more on my Kindle, so I don't have a physical copy of it. It is The Sound of a Wild Snail Eating by Elizabeth Tova Bailey. This is one that I originally picked up because I needed to read it for work, and then ended up loving it. It kind of surprised me because, as you all know, I'm not a huge nonfiction reader. And this is a nonfiction memoir about a woman who all of a sudden is struck by this unknown illness that leaves her bedridden, but bedridden to the extent that she can't physically sit up. She is super sensitive to light and sound, so she can't even watch TV or listen to music. And so she's kind of in this complete isolation where all she can really do is think. And a friend brings her a snail, and it lives on our bedside table in a little terrarium, and she just becomes fascinated with its life and how it lives. And so it's a memoir of her just watching and becoming fascinated and connecting with this snail. And so it's part like information about snails, which I didn't realize snails were so interesting, but also part memoir of her like reflecting on how much her life has changed when she was forced out of productivity and into just this complete stillness. It is beautifully written. I read it all in one night, like in a series of a couple of hours. It's not very long. I think it's only like 200 something pages. So once again, just really, really meditative, relaxing, also interesting, and a powerful story about like how there are organisms that a lot of times that we don't pay attention to as people, and how they have their lives and how they live their lives. And it's a very interesting exploration on that concept. So that is The Sound of a Wild Snail Eating by Elizabeth Tova Bailey. Great. What I'm reading. a lot right now. First off, I am reading one super secret book. It is our March pick for Dandy Roll Book Club. I am about halfway through it. I'm really loving it. I'm really excited for us to launch it. We are doing something a little different than what we usually do, but it's a wonderful, wonderful novel. I'm not going to say what it is, but if you are at all interested, follow us on Instagram, and we'll be releasing that title at the end of February. And once again, that's our March pick. Okay, so now for the things I can actually talk about. I'm still reading How to Do Nothing by Jenny Odell. This is our January Dandy Roll Book Club pick. As you can see, my mother-in-law got me little dog tab sticky note things for Christmas, so I am finally able to actually annotate. I'm really bad at annotating, but this is definitely a book that you need to annotate. It is one of the more challenging books that we've read for book club, which has been exciting. It is nonfiction, so it's taking me a long time to get through. This was not my pick. This was a pick by one of our other staff members, and so I kind of went into it thinking it was going to be more like self-help, how to disconnect from technology, and it is not. It is actually a philosophical and political manifesto about how doing nothing or stepping outside of like a capitalistic productivity focused mindset is actually an act of political warfare. And it talks a lot about strikes and unions. It also is now getting into like bioregionalism. It goes really deep into philosophy and modern art, specifically performance art. It is, like I said, it is kind of a challenging read, but in a good way. And it's very engaging. So don't let any of those big buzzwords that I just threw out scare you from reading this book. It's written in a way that even if you're not familiar with some of the concepts or even like the artwork that Odell herself, who is an artist in San Francisco, is mentioning, that you can still enjoy and engage with the book because she does a very good job of explaining those concepts. It really took me by surprise by just how in-depth these theories are. And I can't wait to talk more, can't wait to talk about some of the concepts with my book club. I'm not going to give you my full thoughts right now, besides the fact that I'm really enjoying it because I still have probably 50 pages left, which I'm hoping to finish up over the next few days. So that is How to Do Nothing by Jenny Odell. Okay, next I'm reading American Delirium by Bettina Gonzalez. This is an advanced release copy that I got from Henry Holt Books, so shout out to them. It comes out in February, so if you are interested in this novel, it will be on shelves pretty soon, but not quite yet. But it is a surrealist fiction work in translation. Bettina Gonzalez is from Argentina. This is her first book to be translated into English. I am not far enough into it to really understand what's going on. Like the beginning is kind of leaving you very confused, but from the dust jacket and from the publisher's description, I know that it does have to do with something about a town that is kind of experiencing these mass hallucinations, and you don't know why, but there are some, there are lots of weird moments where reality is kind of shifted and you don't know whether this is actual reality or this is just like an hallucination or somebody's interpretation of reality. And then also the deer population start attacking people, like actually attacking people, like fighting back and killing people. It's told from multiple perspectives, and they're all from like different generations. So it's told from the viewpoint of a 9-year-old girl whose mother has abandoned her, and then it's told from the perspective of a 40-ish-year-old man, and then also a very senior woman. I don't know. Their stories are going to have to connect at some point. I think I've kind of figured it out how they might connect. I have no idea where the story's going, but I think I figured out the characters a little bit. I'm really enjoying it. I really like surrealist fiction, but it is, so far, I don't know what's happening, and I'm just kind of along for the ride, which I'm enjoying. So that's American Delirium by Bettina Gonzalez. I'm also reading Another super secret book, it is our Danny Roll Book Club February pick. Once again, not my pick, it was a staff pick, so I'm kind of trying to catch up. But that will be announcing on January 27th. It is adorable. I just really want to talk about it, but I can't. So reading that, and then I'm also reading on my Kindle Shadow and Bone. I have had a lot of people tell me that I needed to read the Grisha series, and then when I saw that Netflix is coming out with their Grishaverse TV show, I decided to give Shadow and Bone a try. I was going to start with Six of Crows, and then I had a bunch of people message me saying not to read Six of Crows until you've read the original series, but then I've also had people tell me that it doesn't matter, so I don't know. I just decided to start the original series. If I don't like it, I will pick up a Six of Crows, because I know a lot of people who've done that as well. I'm enjoying it. It's not my favorite. I was really annoyed at the beginning of it because I just wanted Alina to stop complaining about how she's not pretty. That is, I hate that trope in YA so much. But I stuck through it, and I think now that she's a Grisha or whatever, and she's beautiful and whatever, I think she's gotten off that train a little bit, so I'm enjoying it more. It's just kind of meh for me right now. So we'll see what happens. I'm about 50% into it, a little over. So, shrug. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, that's Shadow and Bone from the Grishaverse. I'm sure you guys have heard of it. So anyway, yeah. So now on to what I got. Okay, so this first one is actually a Christmas gift from my mother. I was so excited to get this because I saw Emily Duncan, who wrote the Something Dark and Holy trilogy, which is one of my favorite fantasy series. I'm so excited for Blessed Monsters, the third and final book in the trilogy, to come out in a few months. She posted on her story that she was reading these, or that she'd finished these, and that she loved them. So I was like, well, if Emily A. Duncan likes it, I'll probably like it as well. It is the Mirror Visitor series by Christelle DeBeau, about a woman named Ophelia who can travel through mirrors and then also can understand history by through objects. She can sense their past. She is promised off to marriage to this man from a clan. I haven't gotten into the world yet, so I don't understand how the world works, but she is promised off to marriage, so I think it's going to be like a enemies to lovers trope, which I'm so excited about. And apparently their romance is actually really cute and sweet. So I am very excited to get started. I posted a picture on Instagram a couple days ago, and so many people were commented that this was their favorite book of 2020, or that they loved the series and they were excited for me to read it. So that's just making me even more excited, and I'm hoping to start this pretty soon. So once again, that's A Winter's Promise from the Mirror Visitor series by Christelle DeBeau. Oh, my book stack's falling apart. Or falling over. All right, the next one is an arc that, due to some COVID-related shipping delays, I just got delivered yesterday, but lucky for you, the book's already on the shelf. It is The Liar's Dictionary by Ellie Williams, which is a part historical fiction, part contemporary fiction. It's supposed to be a coming of age about this woman trying to find her way in the workplace and what she wants to do with her life. And that is, as you all know, one of my favorite kinds of books. I love adult coming of age stories, and I love books about work because I do nothing but work. Don't be like me. Anyway, very excited to read this. Thank you, Doubleday Books, for sending me a free copy in exchange for a review. Yeah. So that is The Liar's Dictionary. It is on sale now, so you can buy it if that interests you, by Ellie Williams. All right, the next one is the last book I bought in 2020. It is Ruthie Fear by Maxim Luskatov. It is a contemporary Western. It's set in Montana. It is about a young girl who sees this strange creature. I don't know yet whether the creature is actually real or a figment of her imagination, but she sees this strange creature when she's very young. And so it's about this young girl as her world that she knows and loves starts to kind of fall apart because of natural disaster and development and violence in this small town. It has had wonderful reviews. The cover is amazing. It got my attention at the bookstore, which is why I picked it up. But I also love Westerns, and I love modern Westerns and anything kind of set in the, and I love stories set in the American West, and I also love stories about young protagonists, and it does sound like it might have a little bit of a supernatural element to it, which is going to be a big plus if it does. Excited to read this one, and we'll definitely update you guys more as I do. So that is Ruthie Fear by Maxim Leskatov. Wow, that was one of the longer videos that I have recorded because there was a lot to catch up on. So thank you guys for watching and sticking with it. I have actually gotten a bunch of new subscribers in the month that I wasn't posting content, so anybody new that's watching this, thanks so much. In the meantime, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Instagram at NotSoWellRead, and I'll see you guys later with another video. Bye!